sit in this beautiful space to consider why we do gather to remember on ANZAC Day and what we can learn from this experience. We certainly don't gather to celebrate. We gather rather to remember and to commemorate. We gather to remember people and places, relationships and sacrifices. But most importantly, we gather to reflect. We gather to reflect on how fortunate we are and to be grateful for the opportunities that are available to each of us. It's my great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Warrant Officer Tony Lochterhand, Regimental Sergeant Major of the 22 Engineer Regiment.
Good afternoon, children and staff, and of course the Principal, Miss Rodrigues, Billanook College. Time dims the memory of ordinary events, but not great events. In a nation's history, great events, whether in peace or war, live in our memories regardless of time. They are deemed great not necessarily for what they achieved, nor for whether they were victories or successes. Rather, great events are distinguished by the quality of the human endeavour they called upon, by the examples they create for ordinary men and women, and by the legends they inspire. So it is with ANZAC Day. 25th of April, 1915, 16,000 New Zealanders and Australians surged ashore at the foot of rugged cliffs on the Dardanelles Peninsula, Turkey, to open a campaign intended to give Allied shipping access to the Black Sea, bring help to Russia, and perhaps force Turkey out of the war. It was, historians say, an ill-conceived campaign in pursuit of a vague objective. But the cream of the New Zealand and Australian armies, volunteers all, committed themselves with no hesitation about the nobility of their cause and fought with great courage, skill and audacity. In the 8 months that followed their first landing, some 50,000 ANZACs were committed to the battlefront, alongside substantially more British, French and Indian comrades. When the last of them was withdrawn as winter set in, about 11,000 New Zealanders and Australians lay dead, and with them many more Allied and Turkish soldiers. While the ANZAC's withdrawal from Gallipoli was brilliantly planned and executed, the campaign cannot be described as anything but a defeat. However, the achievements of the ANZACs can be measured in other than strategy, tactics and battles. Their true achievements were in their courage, determination, mateship and sacrifice. These were achievements that set standards that inspired their countrymen for generations to follow. The legends they established gave fresh voice to new feelings of national pride in both young nations and the news of their suffering. On reaching the homes of anxiously awaiting families, brought people together in ways that they had not known before. For New Zealanders and Australians, ANZAC is our own day. It is a day that we mark the deeds of men and women who had come to see themselves as New Zealanders and Australians, and who were mourned by people who regarded themselves as New Zealanders and Australians. The names on public memorials existing in virtually all of our towns and cities are important and regular reminders of the losses our nations felt in those darker days. The ANZACs indeed command and deserve the respect and remembrance of present and future generations of all New Zealanders and Australians, regardless of race, colour or creed. On every 25th of April, New Zealanders and Australians at home and abroad have gathered to commemorate not just those ANZACs who died on that day, but all current and former men and women of our Defence Force. We remember on this day those who fell in both world wars, in conflicts in Korea, Malaya, Borneo, Vietnam and in Afghanistan. Duty, patriotism, individual sacrifice and the affirmation of the New Zealanders and Australian relationship are the enduring legacies of Gallipoli and all subsequent conflicts involving our two nations. So here we stand today to honour great men and women and great tradition. We gather as we shall always gather, not to glorify war, but to remind ourselves that we value who we are and the freedoms we possess, and to acknowledge the courage and sacrifice of those who contributed so much in shaping the identity of this proud nation and those that continue to serve. Thank you.
Today we remember with thanksgiving those who made the supreme sacrifice for us in time of war. We pray that the offering of their lives may not have been in vain. Today we dedicate ourselves to the cause of justice, freedom and peace, and for the wisdom and strength to build a better world.
God of love and liberty, we bring our thanks this day for the peace and the security we enjoy, which was won for us through the courage and devotion of those who gave their lives in times of war. We pray that their labour and sacrifice may not be in vain, but their spirit may live on in us and in generations to come, that the liberty, truth and justice which they sought to preserve may be seen and known in all the nations upon the earth. This we pray.